Okay, so for today, I'm gonna pick up the first match of a best out of 3 that I've been keeping on the side, but that I wanted to watch and still didn't sit down to watch it. So I guess it's gonna be today. I'm gonna share it with all of you by doing a shoutcast on it. Like I was just mentioning, first game, it's from the quarterfinals of the CraftCup that was held I think a couple of weeks ago, so it's not on patch 1.2, it's still before patch 1.2. And it's a face-off between two players that I consider high-profiled in Europe. They're well recognized, and well, I never seen them clash against each other, so I was just curious about it. As you guys know, very rarely I watch the replays before I actually shoutcast them for all of you. So I'm not sure if the game is going to be like awesome, epic, but based on the high profile and the skill level of these two players, I'm assuming you're going to have an interesting series. So we'll see what comes out of here, I guess. So let me present the players. You're going to have here aTnSocke is the Protoss player, this light blue teal Protoss, and he's a German player, BroodWar veteran. Also played on the World Cyber Games several years ago, and one of the most well-recognized Protoss players from Europe. He also got invited and played on the MLG Rally last year on 2010 and did pretty good there, pretty impressive. His team sent him there and he ended up on the 3rd place. He lost to Kiwikaki if I'm not mistaken. So kinda nice, good Protoss here, a strong, powerful Protoss, and he's gonna be facing against his teammate, also from Team Alternate Attaxx, Team aTn. You're gonna have DarKFoRcE. He's German as well. Quite a strong Zerg player, and he's been kind of like a freaking flyer on all the tournament scene in Europe. He shows up on all the events, he's been showing up on the CraftCup on a weekly basis, trying his luck, see how good he gets at it, and well, he's been showing his skills and actually stating that, hey, I'm here and I'm quite a strong Zerg player, so let's see what he can do against Socke. Hopefully we're going to be going for a nice game. Like I mentioned, I never checked the replay, so I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that at least being two high-profile players, we're going to be going for a pretty strong match. Okay, so focusing on the match, as you can see for now, Socke having an interesting approach. He's actually making a wall off on his natural expo. He didn't build much on his main base, even working out of a single assimilator for now. While his opponent, DarKFoRcE, whoa, out airborne. Okay, they're already kicking people, probably lagging or something. Yeah, airborne, I left the game. Yeah, they're already kicking people. But like I was saying, as you guys saw, Socke is already establishing his base, or most of his buildings on the Natural Expo, without even building anything proper on his main base. There it is, gateway into Cybernetics Core and now second pylon, walling off completely. So he might be planning for any kind of fast expand, I'm not sure. The reasoning behind me saying this is that he's just establishing all the buildings in such a way that he's going to be able to defend it if his opponent, if DarKFoRcE starts advancing. Here goes Revolver, another guy kicked. And yeah, there it is. As you can see, they cannot enter the place. There's a single gap here that now is getting defended by a Zealot, so this Zergling is going to have a lot of work there. Meanwhile, you guys noticed that DarKFoRcE went for the hatchery, a fairly fast hatchery, but keep in mind that you went gas first to get the Zergling speed, and then spawning pool, and then the hatchery, so it wasn't the fastest ever. And meanwhile on Socke side, he's now getting a Stargate. Whoa, really quick Stargate. Gateway into Cybernetics Core into a Stargate. We're going to see some airplay pretty soon. Obviously, by this time, DarKFoRcE doesn't have much of an air defense. The Queens can do something about it, at least on the early game. But as soon as you see what unit will be Socke going for, he needs to make a decision, or else he might be in trouble and doesn't have anything to defend his opponent's attacks. I'm not sure what Socke is preparing. I would say at least some Void Rays to have a go at his opponent, but keep in mind that Phoenixes are fairly useful as well. You can immobilize, lift up some Queens. Also you can go for some Overlord hunting, and there's some of them around, as you can see as well. So might be a good idea. Meanwhile, DarKFoRcE pulling with his Zerglings. I guess he's gonna kill the probe. Yeah, nice around there. Probe down really quickly. And he's been taking care of map control. Look, he has all the Xel'Naga watchtowers, been spreading all of his Overlords all over the place, even placing Zerglings here. One thing that is disturbing me a little bit is that I think this Overlord still didn't went to the main base. He checked everything here, and there's the Nexus going down. Fairly quick expo, not the quickest ever, but still fairly early expo for the Protoss player, for Socke. But I think he didn't check anything here. Let me look. I'm almost sure of it. Let's take a look at it. Exactly. He didn't even check the main base. So this is kind of awkward because basically he didn't look at the Stargate. He doesn't know what his opponent is going for. So kind of a lousy scouter there. I hope he's going to take a look at it soon enough, or he's probably not going to need it because the Void Ray is coming here and spotted, so he knows there's Void Rays around. Queen's actually defending the place, so doing fairly good. He also been controlling the Xel'Naga Watchtower, so he probably spotted the Void Ray while it was passing through that area, trying to get to his opponent's bases. So based on that, now DarKFoRcE will have to answer back, will have to counter his opponent's build. He already has the lair. Look at the amount of buildings he's getting here, a nice sim city, all of the buildings on this side, and getting a nice usual counter to the Protoss army. Hydralisks, they're strong, they're nice, put a really good DPS. They only have one issue in my opinion, which is the really low HP. So the idea would be to maybe have them back them up by something else. Roaches and Hydralisks will be a nice idea. I'm not sure if DarKFoRcE is going to go for that or not, but I guess we're going to see it soon enough. What I can see is that DarKFoRcE now is transitioning from that single Void Ray that he made into some Phoenixes. So we can have some Overlord hunting as well. He can also, with one of the Phoenixes, lift the unit and kill it with the other one. So some options for harassment. Oh, he's actually backing it up with the Void Ray, picking up a Queen. Oh, that Queen is going to go down. There's nothing here to help defend. Before anything comes here, it's going to get killed. Oh, beautiful transfusion by DarKFoRcE, making that Queen survive that assault. Awesome micro there, very, very on the ball, on the spot, and just saving his Queen. Excellent move. So meanwhile, from what I can see, Socke once again pulling back. The Queens were all there trying to shoot down as many air units as possible. So he pulled back. Void Ray is not here anymore, but the Phoenixes, who are fast enough and can be used as scout units, are just flying over everywhere, taking a look at what's going on. And the first Hydralisk finally out. Oh, that Phoenix was so close. There's plenty of juicy Overlords there for the Phoenixes to kill. But I don't think that's only these two Phoenixes will be able to do the job. Also, what else is here? Let me look. Let me take a look at the army composition and at the building. Robotics facility transitioning once again into Colossi. So I think that Socke is trying to play a bit with his opponent, just mess him up a little bit. So he's getting a lot of fast transitions from air units into ground units. He forced DarKFoRcE into going for Hydralisks, and now he's getting Colossi. Colossi just melt through Hydralisks and Zerglings and other units, squishy units like that, those ones. So might not be easy. Now 3 Hydralisks there trying to finish off this Void Ray, still alive and kicking with 3 kills, and there's 3 Phoenixes flying around. Meanwhile, notice that DarKFoRcE, you can check it on the minimap, is massing up a small group in the front of his opponent's Natural Expo. Probably gonna try to attempt a break, like a bust, into his opponent's base. He's gonna have to focus fire on one of these buildings, I would say the pylons, try to get a gap there, but there's not much of an army for now. Plenty of Hydralisks, they're very effective against gateway units, also quite good against those Phoenixes and Void Rays. The problem is, Hydralisks by themselves, they don't survive that long, especially when your opponent is getting Colossi and extended Thermal Lance. But notice how DarKFoRcE is placing himself here. I think he's getting himself ready to apply a lot of pressure into that door of the Natural Expo. Notice even the creep spread. He's just preparing himself to have a massive force advancing, while once again the Phoenixes fly over the place. And here comes a big advance here, big push with a lot of Hydralisks, backed up by some Overlords that are just making sure that they can have some creep there, pooping some creep, so they give some speed to the Hydralisks. Hydralisks are fairly slow when outside of the creep, so the intention is just to allow them to go a bit faster. But notice on the minimap how the creep highway is getting stretched all the way into his enemies, into his opponent's Natural Expo. Fairly good work here with the creep highway, actually quite good. Notice as well DarKFoRcE going for the double Expo, so he's committing himself to a strong macro game. And what else is he building here? Let us take a look. Roach Warden already here, now getting the Spire, probably to reinforce his counters to air units, because, well, he doesn't have much. He's been trying to hold on with the Queens first and then backed up by the Hydralisks, and they've been doing a pretty good work. Oh, they got all of those Phoenixes. Look at how fast they grounded them down. But apparently Socke just destroyed his rocks and is getting himself ready to make a push into his opponent's main base. knocking on his back door. And does DarKFoRcE even has anything here to defend? Well, the rocks will contain this advance for a little bit, so he might be able to show up here soon enough. He has vision, as you guys can see, so he knows what's happening here. He's gonna have to start moving units into this location. Plenty of Hydralisks waiting for the offense from Socke, and now Socke is not able to push as he seems fit. He's gonna have a nice resistance, and notice that the roach play, these roaches on the front line with the Hydralisks on the back will be able to put up a really nice DPS. And there goes the Void Ray, killed, but there's already 3 Colossi there, and Colossi have this interesting feature, which is you can actually get something like, I don't know, I can call it the critical mass. When you get like 4 or 5 Colossi, they do so much damage, it's so messy, that, well, it's kinda hard to defend and to put up with them. So hopefully DarKFoRcE will be able to get some counters, and he is getting Corruptors, so we can just bash away at any big Colossi force, and make sure that he doesn't actually get to that critical mass that will just rip through all of this Hydralisks. Keep in mind that Hydralisks 80 HP goes really fast against like 4 or 5 Colossi. Meanwhile, Socke playing out of 3 bases, as you guys can see, and even establishing his second expo, I'm sorry, third base, this one, towards his opponent. Risky move. He does have plenty of forces here to defend, and he got all these forces established on this area, but if his opponent counters back on one of his bases, he won't have anything to reply, and that's exactly what's happening now. A lot of Zerglings advancing into the Natural Expo, wreaking havoc on his mineral field, trying to kill as many of those probes as possible. There's several static defenses here, making sure he's going to be able to finish off all of these Zerglings, but still a lot of instability on his Natural Expo, and Socke needs to have some kind of defense there, because DarKFoRcE might be planning a big push into the main door of that Natural Expo and just destroy it. Nice force field play containing the advance of this big line of Hydralisks. They're not actually able to get a proper concave, and they can't get in range into the units from Socke. So very well played there. Socke having a nice force field move. Plenty of Corruptors here to fend off, shoo away that big Colossi force, and once again a small wave of Zerglings advancing into the Natural Expo of Socke. They're gonna enter on that small gap once again. Here they go, Socke pulling some Zealots into this base, teleporting them, but there's a lot of Zerglings roaming around the base, killing most of those probes. Quite painful. Socke is trying to attract the Zerglings into the photon cannon so they can have them killed. Once again successful. He did it. And now look at the build here. He's gonna have a Dark Shrine. Also already has the Twilight Council and getting a Templar Archive. So Dark Templars mixed up with High Templars. Powerful force that Socke is getting here. Also he has like kind of a stale here. He's just waiting, patiently waiting, but the DarKFoRcE has plenty of forces. Let's take a look at the income first of all. It's similar, Harvester count, Socke is a bit ahead, and on the income as well, but the gap is not that big. And army-wise, 167 against 150, 17 difference. It is a bit, but not that much. Spinecrawler, some static defenses getting established there. And meanwhile, as you guys can see, there was a drop made there with the Prism. Nice transfer being done there, nice transfusion, and all of these Zealots are trying to wreak havoc on this 4th base that DarKFoRcE established here. So DarKFoRcE will be pulling any units to defend this place. Zealots are just roaming around, trying to slice and dice everything that move. Once again, nice transfusion. DarKFoRcE is on the ball with the transfusion, just keeping all of his queens alive. But there's several Zealots slicing at the hatchery, and apparently this base won't last much longer. Plenty of roaches finally showing up, shooting what's left of that Zealot force. Keep in mind that there's still 2 Dark Templars here on the back, so they might be preparing a surprise, while apparently he's gonna have an advance, a push into the main base from DarKFoRcE once again. Plenty of Corruptors destroying that that Colossi so quickly. But meanwhile, look at this. The Dark Templars are already roaming around. There's no units here to spot them, and oh, DarKFoRcE just gave up when he spotted all the Dark Templars. He actually doesn't have anything to detect, so I guess he's just GG, because, well, he was contained here on the north, as you guys saw. There was kind of like rotten piece, can I call it like that? They were just hanging here, no conflict, but blocking each other, and actually Socke was containing the movements from DarKFoRcE here, and then his main base was almost starved. Here was the minerals getting really low as well, as you can see, and these two bases were just getting really strong harass with that drop. So I guess that DarKFoRcE just felt that he didn't had any chance. He had a pretty big army, so he might be try like a final push, but I guess he just predicted that it wouldn't result into anything and gave up on it. Well, first game is done. Pretty powerful game. I'm kind of surprised that DarKFoRcE didn't try the final push, to be honest, but I guess he just, when he saw that there was that many Dark Templars roaming around, he saw that he didn't have a chance. Let's see the units. I think he didn't even had any Overseer. No, he had to make some. Well, first game done, as you guys saw. 1-0 for Socke. Let's go for the second match. Have fun.